Likewise, thank you, Joey, and also thank you for the opportunity to give a short, quick presentation. As Joe indicated, I work with APHIS Animal Plant Health Inspection Service, and I work out of Fort Collins, Colorado. And our team is a little bit of scattered across the country, especially after the height of the pandemic. Things have changed a little bit, at least as far as the location goes. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about APHIS and some of the work that we're doing within the Office of Tribal Relation, also known as ONTL, and some of the things that we have launched since the height of pandemic, actually. So talk a little about who we are and the emergency response, as Joey indicated that there are a lot of discussion when it comes to invasive species, and there are not a lot of plans in place as well. I think that's one of the reasons why we have launched an emergency response training and MOUs as well. And this has mainly had to do with the during the height of pandemic, and we were getting a lot of questions about when it comes to what's happening within the in the plants, the food plants and fruit processing plants. A lot of the backup and everything was a lot of them going on. So within that, so we wanted to figure out how to move forward as well. So within that, we our main thing is we do brand ourselves as the response agency as well. And what does that really mean when it comes to outbreaks, and also at the same time when it comes to invasive species to the same time. So a little bit about who ONTL is, and the big thing, our primary mission is actually tribal consultation. I'm not going to talk at all on that, but there's more. So I just want to show who we are and how we work with our tribal partners, also within our agency and with other USDA partners, as well as across the federal world as well, and some of the work that we do. And here, just want to briefly mention, as indicated, that some of the work that we do, and here we are, another agency telling our partners to develop and don't even come with any type of a funding attached to it. So some of the things that we have able to do that are probably a little bit more familiar, because it's invasive species, maybe a little more familiar, is the PPA 7721. And also known as Plant Pest and Disease Managed Disaster Prevention Program. And we're asking tribes and our producers and also ranchers from that angle as well, and asking them to develop an emergency response plan, or tribes developing plans as well, and asking them to develop and to be a little bit more prepared, more on the front end, versus a recovery effort as well too. So that's something we've been working with our program units there who run these programs, and when you're writing your proposals and your suggestions, and that you can utilize these funding to develop those plans, because we are letting them know that some of the barriers and also some of the things, the infrastructure that faces tribes as well, and the low staff and how can it staff. So one of the funding that is going to be utilized is hiring contractors that are SME and able to develop that. PPA 7721 and National Animal Disease Preparedness Plan, as well as CWD as well. And so this is something that we have been pushing forward, and a lot of our training, we've been talking about this as well. So what is the emergency response plan? And asking tribes, and also at the same time ranchers and also growers to think about it, not just at the tribal level, the government level, but also at the same time at the rancher and at the citizen level as well. So what is this? These are regional trainings. We have been doing this across the country, across Indian country. We have done some training in Florida. We've done some up in the Northeast, and also in the Oklahoma area. Actually, one of my colleagues and has been doing this is up in Upper Peninsula, Michigan, and meeting with the tribes up there now. And we have been partnering with a number of Native American organization, Intertribal Natural Resource Organization in the Pacific Northwest. We did hold some trainings in the Pacific Northwest as well. We have partnered with Nufwik, I think is how we say it, Northwest Indian Fish Commission, and so helping us. We're also have been encouraging not only the member tribe but also the non-member tribe as well. So that's something that we have working with them and developing that. So we kind of, and if they are looking to have the training in the area, just let us know, and we're willing to come out to some same time, and we're willing even to work um, with Stephen Herc and his group to the same time out of WSU. What is the goal? Develop tribal nation plan and animal response plans. And one of the things that I let the tribes know is that you may have your response teams maybe within the IHS or maybe within your police department or maybe within your fire department. And they maybe have those response plan, maybe focusing a lot more on the natural disasters, but their section may not be in there, maybe is the plant and house responses. So that's something we do encourage that. And also at a citizen level, if you have heard, or for example, in St. Regis Mohawk, and one of their big concern is black ash. And so they utilize that as part of their culture and their culture survival as well. So they have developed a whole response plan on emerald ash borer because they want to protect black ash. And so that's something that really helps at the same time when you're applying for funding and that I mentioned, and this particular case will be PPA 7721. So if you have a plan in place, and that will really help you boost um, getting those funding to the same time. So just to keep that in mind. And also at the same time, I know some of a lot of smaller tribes or may not have a big infrastructure in place. And so that might be a really big task. And we're asking to do MOUs because we do get asked quite a bit when there's a outbreak happen, whether it's on the plant side or on the animal side. For an example, high path is a big thing that is going on at the moment. And if there are some backyard chickens or our agency folks, they want to come onto the tribal land. If we have MOU, we know who to contact, and within the tribes, and so then maybe even escorting our response team to those locations as well. So that's something, it's a multi-agency response, a lot of time from that angle. So that way we want to put the whatever the pest and disease in tracks fairly quickly. As one of the individual getting a presentation indicated, uh, pest and disease don't see no boundaries. Once it starts moving, it will just keep moving until it devastates, and then after that, it will just keep moving. So some of the things just keep in mind within the emergency response plans. Yeah, these are some of the things that we are looking at. I'm not going to go into details. These are some of the things that to look for and within those plans, identify resources, and also the trusted partners. And it takes it's gonna in the long run, it's gonna help your resources on your end to the same time. That's one of the things that we're really focusing on. And one of the big things that I have, one of the training that we're at actually response team, sometimes they may not be aware of some of the historic sites because they may be a little bit in an isolated area. For an example, they may not be who their TIPOs are, and they may or may not know them. And one of the response team were telling us that they didn't, there was a natural disaster, I believe was a fire, was happening, and they almost bulldozed a whole area of historic site as well. And so that's something we encourage within that to identify those sites. Another area another given example is there's a flooding going on, and I can't remember, Nebraska or Oklahoma and somewhere in that country, in that part of the country. And I was asked, because all these dead animals and what they want to do with it, and they wanted to temporarily place in a certain area. and then they want to dispose them later on. And that's part of what our agency does as well. Animal disposal and carcass removal from that angle as well. So, but they wanted to temporarily place, and I guess they saw that as well. What does the place look like? They say, well, it looks like a mound. So, well, the mound, that might be a historical site for that tribe. So I wouldn't recommend, I don't know, because I don't care if it's a natural disaster going on. I know this is that, but I don't think that would be a good idea from that angle. So that's something just to keep in mind, stuff like that. And emergency response, things are happening, things are moving quickly. And then the bottom line is reduce of economic loss. And also at the same time, the loss of cultural and natural resources. That's probably the main thing too at the same time. And again, some of the things that we look at it from that angle, I know a few years ago when food sovereignty has become a big movement in the country, and my boss and I were trying to figure out how to play a role within the infrastructure as well. And that's something that we also let our partners know from that angle. This is also helping, and that food sovereignty from that angle as well. And then also human safety, press, and also culture systems, protecting all of that and preserve a lot of that from that angle as well. And some of the high level that are currently going on, and I kind of mentioned some both on the animal and the plant side. So what our agency is currently doing and what's happening and on our plant side as well. So just something to keep that in mind. And I think the big one that is currently, I know in along the coast of fruit fly, a lot of, especially on the plant side, I know they're responding a lot to that from that angle at the moment. And who department, I just kind of covered that a little bit already earlier, travel departments, academia, and as you know, at WSU and Bureau of Indian Affairs here as well, and our tribal citizens, producers. And so something to keep that in mind. So please, so this is pretty much open to everybody. Hopefully, phase one, we're approaching this on what's it going to look like a little. Phase one is primarily just more of introduction, because one of the things that we're finding out is some of our partners may not, and also at the citizens level, may not be really familiar who APHIS is and why we brand ourselves as an emergency response agency, and some of the domestic programs that our agency carry out as well within our each line programs, plant PPQ, animal health programs within wildlife services or animal care or veterinary services, and some of their disease and pest surveillance programs. I usually call those program disease or program pest disease as well. And then we also have others when there's an outbreak to happen. And also specific topics. And I know sometimes our agency have their own national, but then that may not be in line with what the tribes, what's happening on the tribal line as well. So we like to hear that too at the same time.
Just about 2 minutes left.
2 minutes? Okay, thank you. I'll just go quickly in phase two, again, talk a little bit more, and the ERP and the MOU as well. And phase three, again, this is where, and later on down the road, we try to do some type of an exercise, tabletop functional or full scale exercise as well. And if you're within the first response teams, you're probably familiar with what that is. So that's something that our agency does that quite frequently. And so there's a lot of other agencies, a lot of different other entities involved too. And these are some of the current campaigns that are currently happening. There's a lot more, but this is kind of give you an idea. And we give out these pamphlets, and a lot of that you can also go up into our website and register within the APHIS registered from that angle. And again, if you have any questions, I kind of went through it quickly. And if there's any question, my colleague and with the Office of National Tribal Liaison, Andrew Hubble, or myself, Carl Etsitty, can always reach out to me. So with that, I will close out, and I believe I stayed within the time frame. Thank you for the time stop.